St. Anne records 2 murders. The St. Anne police have recorded 2 murders between Friday and Sunday. This incident has brought the total number of murders in the parish to 12, when compared to 21 in the corresponding period last year. The most recent murder is that of an unidentified elderly male whose body was found around 6:42 a.m. in Runaway Bay. Reports are that residents stumbled upon the body and alerted the police. The body had what appeared to be gunshot wounds to the head. Another male was also found with gunshot wounds to the head in Parish St. Anne Friday evening. The deceased has been identified as Kevin Lee, a truck driver of Jackson, Trelawney. According to reports, residents heard explosions sometime after 6:10 p.m. and summoned the police, and Lee's body was found. Investigations are ongoing in both incidents. 8-year-old among 4 people killed in crash along PJ Patterson Highway in St. Catherine yesterday morning. Police have identified the 4 people killed in a crash on the PJ Patterson Highway. They are 29-year-old Wendy Lamley, 22-year-old Taisha Manhart, both of Papine, 8-year-old Troy Stewart of Golden Avenue, and 27-year-old Andre McLeish, a factory worker of Tavern Avenue, all from Kingston 7. Police say the crash, which occurred about 12:30 a.m., involved a grey Toyota Probox motor vehicle and a black Mercedes-Benz. Head of the Police Public Safety Traffic Enforcement Branch, Assistant Commissioner of Police Gary McKenzie, said the driver of the Probox motor vehicle lost control of the vehicle and crashed. He said while the occupants of the Probox were attempting to exit the vehicle, a Mercedes-Benz crashed into the Probox. He said the driver of the Probox and 3 other occupants aboard the vehicle were pronounced dead at hospital. ACP McKenzie said several other persons were injured and are in hospital.
What we understand is that a Probox motor car was headed into the direction of Kingston with about 11 persons on board, to include some children, when the driver somehow lost control and crashed with the median. The vehicle overturned. Whilst the persons were attempting to get out of the vehicle, we understand that a Benz SUV motorcar traveled along the said roadway heading into Kingston in the same easterly direction when it crashed with this vehicle. As a result, several persons were hit. We understand that the driver of the Toyota Probox motorcar, as well as 2 female passengers and a young female child, were hit and died as a result of this crash.
Grandmother criticizes Spanish Town Hospital over lack of CT scan and ambulance following fatal crash. The grandmother of 2 people involved in Sunday's fatal crash along the PJ Patterson Highway has criticized the Spanish Town Hospital for the lack of a CT scan machine and ambulance. My 2 granddaughters, my niece, her son, and her daughter got into an accident. The rest of them are sick and in the hospital, at the Spanish Town Hospital, and she forgot get a scan for her head, and them a go say they don't have the machine. Them no have no ambulance to carry them to the next hospital, and me think that part a slackness, she stated. She added that the family and the community has to raise funds to secure an ambulance to transfer her granddaughters to another hospital. See they, I want me a walk and collect it, see they, and no lie me a tell. I beg me if I beg this $35,000. We have to chomp up the money, the whole family, because we don't live bad, and chomp it up, and get an ambulance to move her, she stated. 4 people perished in the fatal crash on the PJ Patterson Highway involving a grey 2002 Toyota Probox and a black Mercedes-Benz motor vehicle. JPS says there is a paradigm shift in the preparation for hurricanes. The Jamaica Public Service JPS says there is a paradigm shift in its preparation for hurricanes. The company come in from heavy criticism over the pace of restoration of service following the passage of Hurricane Beryl last July. JPS President and Chief Executive Officer Hugh Grant says the company is moving to have workers from overseas in Jamaica prior to a storm. He explains that after Hurricane Beryl, 50 workers from the Caribbean and North America supported the JPS restoration efforts. Mr. Grant says JPS is seeking to have a capacity of up to 300 such workers and will be discussing how to fund this initiative with the Office of Utilities Regulation or. He states that another lesson learned was the need for stronger stakeholders' engagement and in that the company is advanced in those efforts. Mr. Grant says the engagement with stakeholders, including municipal corporations, will help the company with restoration priorities.
Typically, how it's done is hurricane comes, mobilize, assess damage, and if additional resources are required, we then go out and we get additional resources. We at JPS, we have had a paradigm shift in this regard, whereby we are currently engaging around having retainer contracts in place so that on a preemptive basis, we can have boots on the ground based on the forecasted impact. And these boots on the ground, we're talking about overseas line workers, so we can mobilize once we have the all clear and once it's safe and immediately begin restoration efforts. That's a huge difference and a huge shift. And frankly, it's what best in class and first class looks like in terms of responding to a hurricane. We did quite a significant amount of that on the second half of Beryl in St. Elizabeth, and it worked great. We are committed to having the center of all we do being the customer. For example, you may have a community center that's serving as a disaster shelter for the aged and others. Bringing power to that site is extremely important, as many folks in the community, though may not have power at home, may be coming to this particular location, and hence it can serve the community well. So we want to make sure that we have those type of things on our radar, and we're looking to do that. We also understand that the importance of restoration to economic centers throughout the island, so we can get the commercial space up and running as safely and as timely as possible. And these are some of the things that we'll have inform our restoration plans in terms of how we go ahead and we go forward.
Senator calls for collaborative tax review to help working class. Government Senator and President General of the Bustamante Industrial Trade Union BITU, Kevin Gill, is calling for a collaborative review of tax measures to further ease the burden of the working class. Gill made the call in the Upper House of Parliament on Friday during a debate on the appropriations bill. Gill told the Senate that as he continues to examine the fiscal measures outlined in 2025-2026 budget, it is important to acknowledge the significant role that tax expenditure play in shaping Jamaica's economy and their direct impact on workers, businesses, and overall national development. He noted that Section 48F of the Financial Administration and Audit Act mandate the annual tabling of tax expenditure statement, ensuring the Parliament and by extension the people of Jamaica are fully informed about the various waivers, exemption, deductions, and credits applied within our tax system. This transparency is critical in ensuring the use of these tax measures aligned with our national economic priorities and serve the best interests of all Jamaicans, Gill noted. He reasoned that as a government, the Holness administration has taken important steps to make changes in Jamaica's tax administration to ease the burden of taxation on working class. Gill commented that historical Jamaica tax system that has leverage as a tool to achieve various public policy objectives. He commended the administration on the application of special tax rate for various sectors, exemptions, deduction, and credit seeking to incentive economic growth, support to social development, and ease financial pressures on key industries. However, he said it must be recognized that the measures directly impact the tax burden faced by individuals and businesses, particularly the working class. Over the years, these tax policies have influenced workers' disposable income, business investment, and overall economic growth. While these measures have provided relief to various sectors, we must continuously assess their effectiveness and ensure they are achieving their intended objectives without placing an undue burden on the working class, Gill concluded. The senator recommended easing the tax burden on workers so that personal income tax policies do not disproportionately impact low and middle income earners, but indeed provide meaningful relief to enhance disposable income and improve living standards. Gill also recommended an assessment of corporate tax incentives, including evaluating whether business tax exemptions and credits are effectively stimulating economic activity, job creation, and reinvestment in the Jamaican's economy. To subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.